Hello, 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 and welcome. In today's interview, we're going to be talking about how to change your mindset for success with none other than the amazing Krysti Turznik, who is the #1 best-selling author and motivational speaker over at powerfulmind.com. And before I continue, just in case you're unfamiliar with me and perhaps you don't know who I am, let me just quickly introduce myself, okay? So my name is Nina Dafe, and I'm the founder and the editor of the Far Above Rubies collection.com, where I basically help Christian women to know their worth, their power, and their purpose so they may speak up, step out, and shine as the amazing women of God that He created them to be. And if that's something that sounds right up your street, like your cup of tea, then definitely also consider hitting the subscribe button below. And you also want to stay tuned because by the end of this video, you're gonna basically walk away knowing why mindset is so important, right? So why Krysti believes that mindset is everything. You're also going to know how to develop the kind of mindset that will help you to achieve your goals and dreams, and also how to break the types of mindsets and habits that are actually detrimental ultimately to your goals, dreams, vision, and purpose, and much, much more. Krysti literally shares great gems and pearls of wisdom, so you are going to want to stay tuned. But before we get into all of that greatness, what I'm going to do is a very quick introduction to Krysti, and then we will jump straight into it, all right? I promise. So, very quickly, Krysti Turznik is a motivational speaker who shows people how to shine light on their shadows, understand that mindset is everything, and to show up as a powerful creator in their lives so they can create a life they don't need to escape from, where every day can feel like a day at the beach. She inspires and equips people with practical tools and the desire to implement personal changes required to live a happier, healthier, and more fulfilling life. Krysti's #1 best-selling book, Mindset Magic, Using Scientific and Spiritual Principles to Create Your Life, has been endorsed by Michael Bernard Beckwith. She holds a master's degree in metaphysics, a Bachelor of Science degrees in biology and metaphysics, and is also an ordained minister and a consulting hypnotist who has been helping people improve their lives for nearly 2 decades. Krysti lives in Wisconsin with her husband, her daughter, and her 4 cats. And you can find out more about her at www.powerfulmind.com. And so without any further ado, we're going to go straight into the interview. Enjoy! Hey Krysti, how you doing?
I'm so good. I'm
Oh,
absolutely thrilled to be here.
brilliant. And thank you also for being here. And I was going to say this evening, but what time is it for you?
It is the afternoon.
Oh,
Yes,
you have to see. I love technology and the way that it allows us to be able to do this. I think it's amazing,
it,
honestly.
absolutely, absolutely. Who would have thought, right? Like 30 years ago that we'd be doing this. It's so incredible.
Honestly, and to be able to form connections so well with people who are literally across the world, it's amazing. It's so
Hmm.
cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so once again, thank you so much for being with us today. And as you know, I've kind of already introduced you, but just in your own words, if you could just let everybody know who you are and all the wonderful things that you do.
Oh, well, thank you. I am a motivational speaker, an author, a life coach, and really what my mission is to help people connect with the truth of who they are. So
Mm,
I help people to shine light on their shadows, to show up bigger in their life, and know that the mindset that they choose is everything, and that they really
yes.
can create the kind of life that they are looking for, where miracles and magic are a part of what they can experience.
I love that. I love also what you said about shining light on their shadows. I love that. I think that's such a beautiful phrase, honestly. And so, how did you kind of, I don't know, get into this work? What is the story and the journey so far? And I guess also, how's your faith kind of, kind of guided you through this as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And those are fantastic questions. So my journey, like so many people, started off in childhood.
Mm,
And for so many years, I didn't believe in myself or
Mm.
my value, my purpose, or anything like that. So I really allowed myself to just, play the role that I thought that I was supposed to, make everyone else happy other than myself.
Yeah,
And
I've done that too.
yeah, and I took all of those beliefs literally to heart. And when I was 17, I was diagnosed with a heart condition that had required lifelong medication, and I literally felt like an elderly person in a teenager's body.
Wow.
Yeah, so what would happen is I had to move very slowly and deliberately. Otherwise, every time I get up, I would get dizzy and pass out, like a horrible time. Yeah, so it was more like settling into what I call a half life, where I knew that I wasn't able to fulfill the dreams that I had wanted for myself. And, I allowed that to happen for several years. And then one day I was in the shower and I had just stood up after shaving my legs, and I started getting dizzy again. And in that moment, for whatever reason, the extent of the sadness and the loss that I had felt was absolutely overwhelming to me at that point. And I looked at my life and I couldn't even recognize how I had gotten to that point. And I knew that I would, spiritually die 1,000 deaths if I lived that life.
Sure.
Moving forward. So in that moment, I claimed something different for myself. And what I did was I literally shouted, no, in my mind. It said, I don't want this. And as soon as I did that, bam, like the symptoms went away. Ooh, what's this? Like literally they had gone away. So I started a journey of diving into the emotions that needed to be healed. And literally like magic, as I healed those emotions, my heart condition healed. And it taught me that we are so very powerful, and that we have more power than the power that we claim.
Yes.
So it's really just allowing ourselves to connect with that part of us. And my spiritual journey has been one that has somewhat supported that. So for much of my early life, I drifted away from the spirituality. I was more like, let me have the science and the facts and all of that sort of thing. And then two significant events had happened for me. The first one was the birth of my daughter, and then followed by like a year and a half later, the death of my father.
Oh, wow.
So those two significant events really put me on that path of, trying to figure out like, what is the purpose of this life? Like it's bigger than just the nature part of everything. So I started to explore like, how was all of this being, created, and what's going on. And as I did, it's like just the whole world opened up with, the truth of the spirituality and the science and how they come together, and how powerful everything can be, and literally that we can create magic in our lives.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Wow. It's like I can see how like that, just from even what you said about what happened with the shower, and then also like I guess the dichotomy of, your daughter, it was your daughter you said, wasn't it? Your daughter's birth, and then, your dad's death. I can see how all of that would kind of get you to examine and to really look at the bigger picture. I'm really fascinated also by what you said about how the way, when you actually kind of screamed no in your mind, the symptoms kind of went away, and you did all the kind of inner healing, and, things started to look better from there. Is that part of the reason also why you feel that, mindset is everything, I guess?
Absolutely. And so what I have discovered through the research and the education that I have gotten is that every single thought that we have is creating a physiological, biological response within our body. So if we have a stressful thought, that's going to be putting our body into stressful physiology.
Yes.
If we have a beneficial, a positive mindset, then that is going to be taking place within our body as well. So there is such a strong mind-body connection
Absolutely.
that we cannot deny, and then throw in that aspect of the spirituality of what is the bigger lesson that perhaps some of these physical symptoms we're experiencing are here to offer us to learn, right? And as we address those, then then we can start to shift out of those and experience something different for ourselves.
Yeah, so true. And even with what you say, as you say, science, I find medicine, there's just so much more research that is actually confirming what you say as well, about the fact that actually our mindsets, our emotions, have, I guess, so much more of a bearing on our well-being than even science and all of these things, had previously acknowledged as well, you
Yeah.
know. And so I know you do a lot of work to do with goals and things as well. So how does that, the mindset kind of, come into all of that, goals and achieving those and
Mhm.
that sort of stuff?
Yeah, yeah. So the way that it works is that when you have particular thoughts and beliefs, your subconscious is limiting the things that are not in alignment with those ultimate goals. So your subconscious is looking into the environment and finding all of those things that are matching that expectation and then bringing it forth
Right.
into awareness. So our job is to really hold the thoughts and the belief of what it is that we want, and then we allow the universe to really take it from there and rearrange itself to bring forth all of those things that we say that we want for ourselves. And then truly the next step for what we need to do is to say yes to those opportunities that are presenting themselves to us.
That is so true. I love that you actually included that second step. I think when you were first speaking, the first kind of scripture that popped into my mind was, whatsoever things are good, whatsoever things are lovely, focus on those things. I'm like, there's a reason why that's there, right? And then also what you said as well about saying yes to the opportunities, because I find that so many times, I know I've been guilty of it as well. We say that we want certain things, whether it's a particular goal or a particular lifestyle, I don't know, a particular partner, whatever the case may be. And then suddenly, we're actually manifesting these things. And depending on mindset, depending on our feelings about ourselves, our worth, our confidence, we can actually sometimes subconsciously, reject these things and then still kind of wonder, hey, how come I don't have what it was that I want,
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Spot on.
So then I guess, do you have any kind of tips and tricks for developing mindset, saying yes, to what it is that we say that we want in terms of our lives and lifestyles at all?
Yeah, absolutely. So the first thing that I always tell my clients is really to spend one day and just observe what kind of thoughts you're thinking. Without criticism, without judgment, just become like that silent witness that is, taking note of what it is that you're saying, and then identify if the majority of those things are beneficial for you, or if you need to perhaps work on shifting some of those. And that awareness helps you to really get the clarity on what it is that you want and what you need to modify to make those things happen for yourself.
Yeah. Well, as you're kind of noting them, I know you said kind of be like a silent witness and everything, like, is it worth actually kind of jotting down these things, or is it just literally just taking mental notes and stuff like that?
It can actually be either way. So whatever works best with your personality. Some people like to do a lot of that journaling and see what's coming up, right? Other people feel like that might be too much work and that would be a deterrent. But just keeping that mental awareness of, like that tally mark, oop, there's a good one, there's a bad one, that sort of thing. But as you start to observe those things, you're going to notice a trend. You're going to notice that there's an underlying belief that is taking place, that is generally ruling all of the thoughts that you have, and a lot of it is going to be tied to your self-image or your value and how you're perceiving yourself and your place in the world.
Right.
So powerful to have that introspection.
It's true. I think, especially for me, as I feel like with every level that I kind of take in terms of getting, I guess, closer to fulfilling, my purpose, or as the purpose kind of expands, it doesn't matter how many times I've kind of come to the crossroads, or whatever the case may be, those feelings of, I don't know, fear or imposter syndrome or feeling unworthy, like they always come up. And so I have found like exactly what you say to be true. Like, it is definitely worth just sitting down with yourself and really examining your thoughts and actually confronting whether it's a fear, a negative thought, an insecurity, and like you say, kind of poking around a bit and really seeing, where that comes from, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And what is very helpful too is really acknowledging, when you have those thoughts of, oh, like there's a belief thought that maybe I need to work through. And then
Yes.
if you can kind of dive into that thought or that belief and say, oh, what is this? How is this benefiting me?
Mm.
Because underneath every behavior or every thought that we have, there is always a positive intention, even if the ultimate behavior is not meeting our goals.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, for example, like the person who wants to be healthier, that's their overall goal, but yet they
Yes.
find themselves reaching for a cookie, for example.
Yes.
They know that that cookie is out of alignment with their ultimate goal, but yet it's benefiting them somehow. So,
Mm.
if in that moment of that misalignment, you are able to, to really say, okay, I'm recognizing that I'm doing this thing that is
Yeah.
not going to meet my goals. What am I really needing in this moment? And a
Mm.
lot of times your mind will say, oh, I'm really hungry. I need this delicious cookie, right?
Right.
Um, if you go even deeper and say, okay, great, I'm hungry right now. I'm honoring that. Even deeper than that, like what do I need in this moment? You might
Mm.
find, maybe that you had an argument with someone and that cookie reminds you of mom, for example.
Right.
And, so there's that feeling of comfort. That's so great. Thank you for that inner wisdom. And then if you ask yourself that same question the third time, all right, even deeper, like at the heart of everything, what is it that I'm really needing?
Mm.
And it could be, I'm really needing to feel loved, or I'm needing to feel
Mm.
important. But there's
Mhm.
always that beneficial underlying need. And
Mm.
when we are able to identify what that core need is, then at that point, that's where we can reclaim our power, because we can choose to meet that same need in a
Right.
behavior that is going to be matching our goals. So it's so powerful, just that awareness, that switch of what it can accomplish.
Yeah, like, especially when you explain it like that as well. Because I think, I mean, just even the example of the cookie, so many other things as well. But I do think that is something that we kind of all go through, where like you said, we say we want something, or whatever the case may be. But I think it goes back to what you were saying about actually saying yes to it. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, when we do these self-sabotaging behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
even if we don't realize it at the time, we're actually saying no. It's about, I guess, becoming aware of that and being very intentional about our yes, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And,
Yeah.
like we need to also remember to give ourselves permission to do that deep inner work, because we might not
Yeah.
always like the feelings that come up. But as you allow yourself to, to go to that place, you're bringing those feelings to light and making it so it's more acceptable to you. So you can
Yeah.
start to love yourself more and reclaim more of who it is that you are. So it's beautiful work that
Yeah,
you.
what you say is so true, because I just, well, as of this recording, released an episode about forgiveness, with a psychologist. So we're talking about, forgiveness, and the fact that when you're doing that work, actually a lot of times healing can be quite painful. And one of the questions that I raised in that episode was the fact that I have come across people who don't necessarily like to have reflection time or be faced with their own thoughts, because of that. And so I guess if you are that sort of person, or, you tend to wince, at the thought of actually coming, face to face with your own emotions, how can you, I don't know, get past that, or overcome that kind of overwhelming, I guess, need to run in a way?
Absolutely. And that's such an important question too, because so many people turn to, those self-soothing types of Band-Aid options. They turn
Right.
to drugs, or they turn to some
Yes.
addiction to
Yeah.
avoid that sort of overwhelming feeling.
Mm.
And what I have seen is that in those moments where you know that some behavior or some belief needs to change, remind yourself you don't have to change overnight. That if you make
Mm.
one small change, one side step, you're just doing something different, that's going to cause everything around you to shift, to find that new balance. And just by continuing to do that one small thing and take that next action, however small or large it may be, it's going to, over time, have tremendous impacts. And it will feel like you are moving forward with such speed, just because you're allowing yourself to move through these things quickly, rather than feeling you have to go from here to way over there.
Right. Yeah. I think that can be half the battle, isn't it? The fact that we have these big visions for ourselves, whatever they may be, and we can overwhelm ourselves with trying to, do them all here and now. And it's so true what you say. Like, there's one of my favorite sayings that comes from the Caribbean is one cocoa, full basket. Like, literally, you take the one cocoa and fill your basket every single day, and actually, before you know it, you have a full basket. It might be slow, but it gets the result. It's kind of the same thing that you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's even remarkable about that too is you could put that one special thing into the basket, and that one could perhaps bring 3 others along with it. Just the fact that you're healing that one issue, or you're changing that one thing. And it has links to everything else within your mind and your body. So just by taking one small thing, you don't know how that's going to be impacting your life. So there again, that's where part of the magic comes from, and where the spirituality of how does it all work. It's so much is happening that's bigger than what our consciousness is aware of.
Absolutely. You've used the word, I guess, magic, and making magic, quite a bit. Like, how would you define that? Like, what does that actually mean to you? How can we make magic in our lives, and miracles you've mentioned too?
Yeah, I think the miracles and the magic are really anything that is out of the ordinary of what we would typically expect. Something that we don't necessarily believe is in our power. And yet when we start to walk through these actions, we realize that we do have that power, and we can see tremendous shifts into the things that we want for ourselves. So that's really what I'm meaning by that, is the unexpected, the bigger things that are going to be serving your life purpose.
I love that. That's such a, well, as you were saying that, I was thinking about, you so many times when you want to make change, or, you're trying to do new things, the immediate thought can be, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to do that, or I can't do that. And it's so true. As you take those steps, and you just continue to put yourself out there and make those changes, you're so right in what you say, that actually you suddenly look back and go, oh my gosh, I did that. I thought I couldn't, and look. Yeah,
absolutely. And when you give yourself permission to do that, like the things that we are able to accomplish, it's like, oh my goodness, like if I can accomplish that, and what will happen if I really put my full attention, my full effort on this big goal that I can see for myself? How is that going to be impacting things? So that's where the amazingness of our potential comes in.
It reminds me of I once read, I think it was a Medium article, and it was talking about like, most people feel like in order to change, or in order to reach their goals, that they need to actually somehow do the inner work to change beforehand. But actually sometimes it's not feeling competent, or still feeling scared, but doing it anyway, and then realizing that you can, and then having that positive feedback that actually causes the biggest change, if you get what I mean. So we may feel that we need to feel or be or have certain skills to begin, but actually it's not necessarily the case. We can actually turn it on its head and do it anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we're never going to feel like we're 100% completely ready for that next step, because there's always going to be something more that we can do. But that's really part of the joy of things, is we can allow ourselves to be comfortable feeling a little bit uncomfortable, because that's a good signal to know that we're stretching ourselves, that we're growing, that we're moving forward in the direction that we want to go.
I like that. Feeling uncomfortable is a good signal. I think, how many times do we go, oh no, I'm uncomfortable, I'm overwhelmed, this is bad.
Right? Too many.
So yeah, we need to turn that on its head right now. Feeling uncomfortable is a good thing.
Yeah, Absolutely. Well, and the fabulous thing too is, like, mentally, when you are feeling that uncomfortableness and you allow yourself to go through it anyway, and then you succeed, that causes like a reaction within the brain that triggers your reward centers. So you are training yourself then to want to have that more and more. So just by moving through that, you're teaching your mind that it's a good thing, that it's okay to do it, and it's going to start seeking out more of those opportunities. So it's that beautiful cycle that can start to take place.
So many nuggets, like honestly, like from taking note of your mindset, your prevailing thoughts, how to change them, but then also I think just the importance of realizing that even while you're working to change, what's going on the inside and what you're thinking and feeling, you don't need to wait to feel like you've totally got it, that you can still move. As like I think the biggest thing that I'm getting out of our conversation is that yes, we need to do the work, and yes, we must, do that inner healing. But while we're doing that inner healing, we don't need to stay stagnant. We can still move towards what it is that we say that we want. And I think that in itself is just so powerful and so freeing for so many people who think they have to wait, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about, if you're just taking those little baby steps forward, that is going to get you so much farther than if you had waited until everything was perfect, right? You wouldn't have moved, So it's something, it's allowing you to shift and to grow, which is what we're all doing, is we're trying to learn more about ourselves and everything that's around us.
Yeah, so true. And I'm just thinking, like, just coming to like the end, and as like one of the things that I tend to kind of talk about and write about as well as, like the women of the Bible and, those sorts of things. I'm just wondering, I'm especially interested in hearing what you have to say. Like, who is your favorite woman of the Bible, and I guess why as well?
Like, part of my journey with spirituality was I had somewhat of a limited background with
Yeah.
religion. So I don't know a whole lot of the women, but the one that really stands out to me is, of course, Mary. And just allowing herself to know that her role in everything was to bring forth this beautiful being in creation, which had his own potential and mission himself, but yet she, with her purpose, was so necessary and so important. And sometimes we forget that even though we have this particular role, which is different than someone else who might have a bigger experience or a bigger reach, sometimes we feel like our purpose, because it's different, is not as good as that. But if you think about her, like, she was absolutely the important piece in making all of that happen, right? So we need to remember that we don't know what our impact is going to be by allowing ourselves the opportunity to bring forth and to birth all of the creations that are within us.
Yeah, I love that. It's so true as well. I think one of the things that I really love about her as well, because I always say I'm a self-confessed control freak, like I don't even bother to say I'm recovering, because I know I know that it's still something I'm struggling with. But I think one of the things that definitely strikes me about Mary is how she was willing to birth her purpose, release it into the world, but also let it have its own way, in a sense. Like, she didn't try to control the outcome. And I'm sure as a mother, and she probably wanted to, but she didn't. And I think that is also like such a big lesson to learn from her as well.
Absolutely. Yep. To just let it be what it is needing to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so if you had to kind of, finish this sentence, so, I am a Christian woman who is, what would you say?
I am a woman who is more powerful than what I realize, and I am allowing myself to continue to dive into the power that is within me.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I am a Christian woman who is not, if you had to turn it on its head.
Sure. Who is not afraid to, um, I'm a woman who is not afraid to allow herself to try and fail, or to not fail, right? So I know that all of that is part of the journey, and so it will help me to get to where I'm going. So I'm trusting in the divine purpose of everything that I experience.
Yeah, I love that. And so, do you have any other, I guess, final words of, encouragement? If you want to let people know, like, how they can find you, or, any of that sort of stuff.
Oh, absolutely. So my final message would really be to remember that you are here for a purpose, you are with a purpose, and that you matter more than you possibly realize, and that you already have all of the answers to every question that you have within yourself.
Yeah.
And when you allow yourself to turn within and connect to that deeper spirit, that deeper source that you have within, all of the divine guidance will start to come through, and you can allow yourself to step into the magnificence that is within you already.
Yeah.
So yeah, so people who are interested in in learning more of connecting with me, I have a gift for your audience of some free meditations that will really help them to start to connect with their deeper self, to learn to trust themselves, and to shift from somewhat of a chaotic experience that they may be having into more of a peaceful calm one. And they can find that on my website, which is powerful-mind.com /free meditations.
Perfect. And what I'll do as well is I'll put that like in the show notes and stuff, so they can easily access it and get it. Thank you so much, not only for the gift, but just all the words of wisdom. Honestly, like, I feel like you really shed new light on mindset, its importance, and also its power. So thank you so much for everything that you shared, honestly.
Oh, absolutely. It's my pleasure. And it's such a lovely conversation. It's definitely from the heart, where we're both connecting and living into our purpose. And it's,
Yes.
a privilege to be talking with you today.
Thank you. Aw. So with that then, I'm going to say bye, Krysti. How amazing was that interview? Now, if you were just as blown away as I was by all of Krysti's wisdom and pearls, then definitely feel free to like this video. And also, if you can think of someone else who needs to hear a lot of the messages that we talked about during our beautiful conversation, and obviously feel free to share as well. As I say all the time, freely you have received, so freely you should give. Don't hoard the information, share and share alike. I would also love to know what your biggest aha moments and takeaways were. So also feel free to write those in the comments below. And if you'd like to see more videos like this where I interview more amazing women, and also share some of my own solo videos and insights, then feel free also to hit the subscribe button below. But don't just hit the subscribe button, hit the bell too, because that way every week when I upload new videos, which is usually about once or twice a week, you will be notified as soon as they are up. All right, so without any further ado, guys, I'm gonna let you go, and we shall speak again next week. Take care. Bye.